This is a quick video on how to make the eye on your animal using the oil pastels. As you can see, I used pen for my examples so you can see it, but you're using pencil to sketch out the eye. You should already have drawn your whole animal, but here are just a few different eyes so I can go through this a few times for you to fully understand. Some eyes have the iris, most of them are round. Sometimes they fill up most of the eye because the animal has a really large eye and the eyelid covers it. Sometimes they're smaller. The iris has the color. That's this ring. Some of them, a lot of reptiles, I know some of you are doing dragons or even cats, have a pupil that's kind of a pointed oval. The iris is still a circular shape, and that's where the color is. The pupil, the part in the middle, is going to be black. Now we're going to add the shine as well to make it look really 3D, but I wanted to go over those parts just to make sure that you fully understand where we're going to be laying the colors. Because oil pastel is so thick, we'll be able to put the black on top of whatever colors we choose for the eye of the animal, and then as long as we do that pressing straight down, we'll be able to add the white highlight even though we've already added the darker colors. So let's start with just one of the eyes. I'll do a green eye to start. I'm going to try and color in that iris. If I go a little outside of the eyelid, that's okay, so long as I for sure get the color in here. I'm pushing down, I want it nice and chunky and thick. It's a little oddly shaped, but remember, the black will cover it, so it'll improve when I come back over it. Don't be too messy. Don't act like it doesn't matter, but remember, it is a little forgiving. It will let you change it a little bit. It is harder with darker colors. Most of the pigment, the color in your eye, is not just a solid color. It usually has a little hint of something else. Some people have it around the very edge or very middle of their eye. Sometimes there are little lines that kind of come in. This one will do that the edge is maybe a little darker, so I'm going to layer some of that blue in there. And I'm going to put it in the middle too. Alright, I'm going to smudge it a little bit with my finger, blend it. Blend is that word for when I use my finger to spread the color, mix the colors. And I'm going to make this a little more green. I want some more green in there. Blend it a little more. All right, now I'm going to put the black for the pupil, the very center of the eye. Now this got kind of squished. It's an oval, so I'm going to make sure that I work really carefully in the black and make it a nicer circular shape. Going nice and slow, pushing pretty hard. Sometimes I like to make little lines so that I'm not just spreading it. Sometimes doing this in the middle is going to kind of blend the colors and not be as dark. Alright, I think it's pretty good. Maybe it could be a little bigger on this side. Nice and slow, taking my time. It is important. So, I've got the pupil, I've got the iris. I'm leaving these very edges a little bit white because usually the eyeball is going to have that white color to it. Even if it's a little off-white, even if this gets a little dirty, I still want to leave a little hint of that. That hint will help make it look round, 3D, and really look like an eye. I'm also going to put that highlight. So here's my white. You can tell it's a little dirty. The trick to doing the highlight is that you're going to press down really hard and then pull straight up. You're not pushing and dragging across. That's going to mix the colors. So I sometimes shake my hand a little bit, but that's part of me pushing down and trying to stick some of that pigment, some of this oil pastel. I want to stick it on there. Sometimes I like to pretend that it's like the tiniest bit of chewing gum or something and I'm sticking it on there. It'll be a lot flatter and it's not really as sticky, but something to help you understand since I can't let you touch it in real life, it's all in the camera. Let's say the light is coming from this direction, so it shines right over here. I like to put my highlight right next to the iris, the black part, so it really shows. I push straight down, I wiggle back and forth, and I lift up. That's nice and bright for you guys. Sometimes there might be, you'll have to look closely at your picture, there might be almost two, so maybe there's a little one right next to it. That helps so much in making it look round and also showing where the light is coming from. And I think it's really important too because things like this trick your brain into thinking that it's wet, even though when I touch it, it's just kind of a dry, sticky material, but it might look wet or shiny with that highlight. Now, because it's an eye, I need to come and put that eyelid in. So this is, again, going to be a nice crisp line. I'm not going to blend it this time. I want the eyelid on top of that, just like the first box in our practice. Come right along that edge. Now, if I'm worried about the color mixing, I could do those short lines again, trying to layer it thick. And I'm going to come to it right on top. Nice straight lines. Be confident. Don't worry about it. Remember, it is forgiving. Maybe not in every single situation, but it definitely is forgiving if you make a little mistake here or there. Sometimes you'll get these little glumpy parts, and just really, really, really lightly, you can brush them off. If you push hard, they're going to smear. If you push lightly, you can just knock them off. Okay, please don't do this. Be nice and gentle with it. Okay, I can brush these all the way off my paper, otherwise my hand might drag them across. All right, so there's one example. Let's go again. I will do this one, the more reptile or dragon eye. And then we can talk about how to do it in your piece. So we did a green one, sorry. Let's do a blue one. What do we do first? The iris, the color. Oops, sorry, my fingers are getting dirty. We don't want to do that black part first because that is going to lay right on top. We work light to dark. So I'm going to start here. Maybe since I'm working light to dark, maybe I want a little light green mixed in to make this eye color really pop. So I just put it on the sides a little bit. Now I'm going to put that blue on top, just like you did again on that practice sheet. That's why we started experimenting with them, so you could see how those colors mix. It may not be obvious where exactly I've put the green, but it's going to change that color. It's going to make it look a lot more real. It's not just a flat color in your eye, not just plain blue. Or even in the animal's eyes, it does change a little bit. Oh, I made a mistake. I will be able to cover it. Pull these off nicely. Here's the black. Remember, I made that mistake. I want to cover over it nice and carefully. A nice thick line. Nice thick, pushing down. I don't want to damage my paper. It should go on pretty easily. I'm being careful at the top with the black because it is so much harder to cover up that if I went too crazy with it, I might not be able to put the eyelid over it. So there's that. What are we missing now? We've got an iris, pupil. I'm leaving the white on the edges so that it would be the eyeball, the white part of the eyeball, the whites of the eyes. What do we need next? It looks flat. It needs something to make it look shiny. The highlight. We need a highlight. So again, I'm going to take that white. And you just push. I like to wiggle mine a little bit. Try and make it stick right down there. I'm not dragging. I'm pushing and picking it up. There it is. A nice highlight. Then I can go around the eye. Usually I like to think of around the eye part is usually a little bit darker, so maybe I'll put a little blue before I go with the purple. In the corners of their eye, right? Maybe almost like they were eyelashes or something. Especially under the eye, right? Might have deep circles. Now I'm going really light with this because it's going to mix so well when I put that purple on. So I'm doing a nice line right by the eye, nice and straight. I'm not going to blend that. Right by the eye, I'm not going to blend this. Okay, and then, oh, stick over here, but there's not really any going back when it's just the plain white paper. See how that blue makes it look a little more like it's in a shadow? Blues and purples are great for shadows. Blues and purples. They're dark colors. They're in that cool color family. So if you have warm colors in yours, maybe you want to use a darker red, or maybe you want to add just the hint of purple. The overall color might still be red or orange, but just a hint of it will really make it look 3D. Now, where these are blended, this time I do want to blend with my finger. I want to smear it, but I'm going to be really careful of this outer line. Really careful of this line in here, because if I start to blend that, it's going to look really messy, and eyes don't have that. Your eyelid goes over the eye, and it's not, you know, eyelids aren't usually fuzzy. So here I can start to blend it, mix them up a little bit, especially down here I want it. I don't want to just see blue lines hidden underneath there, I want to blend it. Being really careful in this middle part. Sometimes once you start blending, you realize you might want more. You can always layer it, add some more purple. It is a little hard. You don't want to pull off the color, right? You want to later on. I use my fingers sometimes to heat it up. That's just me. Blending. I'm covering up. It looks a little less blue now, but it still definitely looks darker here than over here. If you think you've grasped this idea, then go ahead, work on yours. If you're not sure again, go ahead and rewatch it. The videos are on here to be a resource for you, to help you with your animal at any time. These same techniques of a sharp edge, layering it once without blending, and layering colors to build up shadows or even the highlights. Maybe I'll add a little white so you can see a better highlight. It's right next to it. It might look invisible on the video, but when I come with the purple, look how much lighter that is, right? Could blend it. Be careful not to use a finger that's got like dark on it when you're blending something light. It's another good trick to keep in mind. Alright, that's my demo on the eyes. Remember, you can rewatch as many times as you want, and don't be afraid to start. You watched the whole thing. I didn't do anything secretive than when you weren't watching. It really is that simple. Be bold, try it out, and I think you're going to be really happy with the results.